To what extent did Native Trail keep surprising you last year?
I think it was really from going into the national, to be honest with you, Nick. He broke his maiden. We went down one of the sort of routes that we've used over the last few years with our horse that we've sent to the national stakes. In that, we went to the superlative, and it was quick round in the superlative, and he won, but he won not in the authority that we've had some of our past winners win the race. Right from there onwards, we were always going to go straight to the national stakes. I mean, as a physical, again, he was a man amongst the boys. When we turned up at the Curragh, I did gain some confidence in what I saw in the paddock as him against the rest of the opposition.
Yeah, and that'll be the case again when it comes to Guineas Day, because both he and Coroebus, they are imposing. They're physically imposing horses, aren't they?
No, for sure. I mean, as everyone, some of the old school will say, sometimes the Guineas can be the last 2-year-old race of the year. If we were to run the Guineas next week, Nick, I'll be confident this horse would certainly be a stride in front of the rest of the crew at the moment as we stand.
Because he's got that maturity.
He's just that maturity, yes.
And he's got a certain completeness about him, hasn't he?
Exactly. I mean, look, as we saw there at the back end of last year when he was in the Dewhurst there, he was the pick of the paddock, in my opinion, probably being biased, but there we are. Your heart rules your head sometimes. If you see him now as we are, he's a very imposing looking 3-year-old, and looking forward to his getting him into the trials and thereon.
How crucial is it for you to convert a European champion 2-year-old into a 2000 Guineas winner? Is that an itch you need to scratch?
For sure. Obviously, it's not the first time we've been lucky enough to have a champion 2-year-old, and to date, it is one thing that's missing off the CV here at Moulton Palace is a 2000 Guineas winner. So of course it's very much on our mind that it's one thing we'd like to put on the CV. But I feel that we've got 2 individuals here and potentially a 3rd horse there in modern games that we can to throw in the mix as well. We ran him in the Royal Lodge there for us all to see, and I walked away thinking we won quite handsomely, to then all of a sudden turn around and realise we'd just been beaten a short head. So we'd certainly seen talent at home, but we had never seen that pace. We backed him up a couple of weeks later there in the Autumn Stakes. I just felt the ground would probably be on the soft side for him, and showing the natural pace that he had, I felt soft ground wouldn't be suited to him. As you see, as a physical, he's done fantastically well. Typical Dubawi. This is going to be a horse I feel is going to just progress throughout the season. We will look towards going to the Greenham with him. Obviously, with Native Trail, he'll probably look towards the Craven. But they'll all be entered in all of those trials, and we will decide for nearer the time how the conditions are and where we are with each individual. But the plan is to send this horse over to 7 just to make sure he switches off and does it the right way round.
The choice of the trial for the 2 horses is more dictated by what you want to do with this horse than it is necessarily with Native Trail.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're in a lucky position that both of them, as we all know, sometimes in the spring we can come into Newmarket, and one of our first excuses is, he didn't handle the dip. Both of these horses have won at the Rowley Mile there, so we can't be using that as an excuse. I just feel that this horse is showing a lot of natural pace, and what we want him to do and learn to do is do it the right way round, and he did that clearly in the Autumn Stakes. But as I mentioned there earlier, William still felt he could have sat for longer, and so I feel that the pace angle in the Greenham will just help us to start his season off doing it the right way round. We ran him over the mile in the Royal Lodge and in the Autumn Stakes in the thought process that we were going to be a 1.25 mile horse. But the way he's developed and mentally and physically of what he's showing us at the moment, I could foresee
he's quite quick, isn't he?
He's quick, Nick. There's no getting away from it. He's got a lot of natural pace. But I won't be potentially shirking the issue to say that I think he could end up a 10-furlong horse.
But he doesn't look like a sprinter or anything like that. He looks like a classic horse, doesn't he? That's what he looks like physically.
He's as a physical, he's just a gorgeous looking Dubawi.
You sort of have to run them both in the Guineas if they come through their trials well. This horse, Coroebus and Native Trail. Are you already starting to think beyond that for the 2 horses?
Yes, for sure. You know, as we say, but the plan is to both take the trials in, and if we're lucky that both of these horses, we're pleased with what we see in the trial, we'll head to the QIPCO 2000 Guineas, and then beyond that, again, after the event, we'll decide for them whether one will then head to Ireland or whether one will go to St James's Palace, or both go to St James's Palace. Or whether we start stepping up in trip with potentially, I feel this horse has got the scope to step up in trip in time.